You cannot spell America without Erica. First off, many characters of the show is written perfectly, while others are kind of left behind, and that's sad. However, with Erica, on the other hand, that was different, and I want to talk about Homegirl. When we first meet Erica, she is just the new version of Tanya from Everybody Hates Chris. I kid you not. Little black sister of an older brother in the 80s. I mean, like, that's where the similarities stop, but I'll get into that later. Anyway, she was the annoying little sister that basically degraded her brother, used nerd jokes, and sometimes tried to get her brother into trouble. But, and I feel like this is the reason why she never got the hate from Tanya from Everybody Hates Chris, and why she was able to escape that trope, is because, well, one, she wasn't in that many scenes in the first, like, 2 seasons. Like, she didn't really become a big character until, like, season 3. She was probably in, like, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 episodes per season 1 and 2. She was there, but she really wasn't that important. Again, I say that respectfully. Tanya is in every episode of Everybody Hates Chris, just being that little gremlin in the darkness, just making awful comments at the worstest time and creating problems for everybody.
Daddy, do you have a girlfriend?
What?
Well,
but for Erica, I think that was good because she didn't really feel like a nuisance compared to Tanya. And let this be known, not all little sisters in media suck. Diana from Blackish is a caring and loving person, and while she does bully her brothers sometimes, she would also break somebody's bones if they were to hurt her brothers, especially Jack. Like, you don't mess with Jack. That will end badly for you. Alex from Modern Family does pick on her siblings, specifically their intelligence, because Alex is the smarter of the 3. But that doesn't come from a place of hate, rather frustration, annoyance, stress, and the hardship of being the smart kid in the family, as well as being the middle child. Alex has a lot of pressure on her to be a success of the family because she is smart. And this causes her to have, high anxiety, stress, negative feelings, and to me, I believe that she expresses those negative feelings through her comments and putting her family members down once in a while. But while Alex isn't 100% neglected, you could see, or rather, you could say her needs would sometimes be pushed to the side for her siblings' well-being.
Why do I always have to come to these things?
because you love your brother.
Why don't you make him come to my orchestra concerts?
Because we love your brother.
And that isn't her fault, and the show does 100% recognize this and improves on this. This allows Alex to improve on herself and her attitude, and gives her the ability to have a better relationship with her siblings. Louise from Bob's Burger is a chaotic gremlin that takes enjoyment from the sympathy of chaos, and would burn down a city if it meant her siblings would be happy. Like, let's be honest, this little girl would commit murder if Jimmy Jr. broke Tina's heart permanently. Like, let's be honest, Louise is that child. There are so many examples of good younger siblings and bad younger siblings, but what I'm trying to get at is the younger sibling trope about being a smartass, or rather a jerk smartass, is not new. It has showed up in so many forms of media, but how the movie and or TV show takes on that character, or rather which direction they want to take that character, is completely up to the writers. They can make that character a full-on villain, or try to help the audience understand why they act like that, and try to, steer them to the good side. We see this in both Nebula and Loki from the MCU series. Both abused under their parents, making them monsters. However, with patience and understanding, these two would eventually break away from that abuse and become amazing characters that would shine so brightly that Loki got his own TV show. Like, that's how you write a character. And that's why I'm glad that Erica didn't fall into the mean sibling trope. It's because Tanya and Erica, as I said before, are similar, but not the same. Tanya is basically the blueprint for season 1 and 2 for Erica. Tanya is a character that was never written to be liked, and that is something that always bothered me. See, both Tanya and Erica have the same beginnings. Both are just annoying siblings that want to get on their older brother's nerves. However, Erica actually does care for Lucas and his friends, unlike Tanya. Tanya's constantly hurting everyone around her just to get her own way. The show tries to show us some of her problems, like her insecurities and whatnot, but the problem with that is it just kind of bashes the story plotline and makes her into a problem the next episode, which kind of diminishes any sympathy I had for her. 4 seasons, we are watching the misadventures of Chris and his understanding of the world, while also watching him and those around him grow as people. Except for Tanya. Her stories never felt meaningful to me compared to stories like Drew's stories. Drew's stories, while they came off as smug because he always get away with shit, it really did feel like the show was trying and did succeed in not making Drew look bad by creating a brotherly bond between him and Chris. We see Drew care about Chris by giving him money when Rochelle kicks him out. We see him stand up for Chris sometimes against his parents. He tries to hook Chris up with girls from his neighborhood. There is a brotherly bond there between those two. And because of that bond, we as the audience can look at Drew sometimes and not have anger towards him, because we have seen this good side he has. Tanya, on the other hand, every episode of her being the main focus feels like fucking trauma. The same with the mother, and the show knows this and even makes a storyline about how Tanya is nothing more but a mini version of Rochelle.
I was trying to study this girl kept talking, so I told her, if you don't shut up, I'ma slap the shit out of you. And she left me alone. You sound just like her. No, she doesn't. She does.
In the animated show, she's still a bitch. Rochelle at least improved a bit, but Tanya, she's still a bitch. And it's sad that they didn't even try to improve on her behavior. I can't even watch the show because of Tanya, and she appears in every episode. Because like her existence as a character just gives me so much anxiety, because she was just so much, and the show did this on purpose. And personally, it's really sad. They had 4 seasons. They could have improved on Tanya, but they never did. Just leaving her as this little anxiety gremlin that just gives you panic attacks whenever you see her on screen. Ugh. Now let's look at Erica. Same humble beginnings, but instead of making her into a Tanya, they actually gave her personality and created a bond between her and the audience. Her big transition from being a background character to a main character was because of her wit and commentary. She was 100% that girl. She didn't have insecurities like Tanya. Well, she did, but not in the same way. We'll get into that. She knew her worth, and she didn't feel the need to push people's boundaries. Yeah, she said some backhanded crap, but she never went too far. Tanya took it a little too far sometimes. She also spoke her truth, and her truth was never false. But more importantly, the Duffy brothers really knew how to write her in a sympathetic light. Erica loves and admires her brother. She loves nerdy things. She loves D&D and science, things that Lucas was also obsessed with, but slowly backed away from. It was because of this connection that she was able to jump out of the side character box and become more popular. But more importantly, I think she represents a type of sibling that is forgotten sometimes by their older sibling. And I think that's why she was, she made such a big impact on a lot of audience. She's that sibling that wants to be a part of the party, but the sibling doesn't want her there. The sibling keeps her out. The older sibling keeps her out. And, it's not the older sibling's fault. Sometimes you just want space away from the younger sibling because she can be a demon. However, I did like that Erica was eventually put into the group. She was eventually invited, or rather dragged into the group. She loved her brother and she enjoyed everything that he loved. Erica did all the D&D stuff, but she could never admit to that or talk about it to anybody because she didn't feel like she would be accepted. And I think that really did play a big role in how she develops as a character, because look at her and her gal pals. They're just all a bunch of meat girls sitting around talking crap about science and nerds and shit. But she loves all that, but she has to play a character so she can be accepted within this group. And she knows this, so she keeps doing that until like season 3. Until just Dustin has to look her dead in her face and be like, "You're a nerd!"
Numbers.
Holy shit, you're a nerd.
Come again?
Nerd! Nerd!
Nerd! Sorry, Callie. Scared my dog. I'm so sorry, baby. And also, we have to ask this question. And I know people are gonna be like, there's so many of them. No, hold on. Let me just ask this question before you go typing into the comments. How many black girls do we see in movies and media just being nerds and having fun? I'm not saying they don't exist. I'm saying that they're not that common. So when Erica is sort of allowed to be her nerdy self, she's not shunned, but rather accepted. She's not laughed at. She's not looked down at. If anything, she's encouraged to be that nerdy side. And after that, we see a drastic change in her as a character. Yeah, she's more confident, and she's also more sassy, but it doesn't come off as mean, but rather amusing. Her comments are so funny that people believe that she would defeat Pennywise, and honestly, she could probably defeat him. He dies from insults. Give her 5 minutes, she'll be fine. And I also want to point out that she smiles more in season 3 to 5. She's more energetic. She wears brighter colors, to which I love. The person in charge of her costume picked the best colors to complement Miss Ferguson's skin. She goes from dark blues to bright baby blues. She wears more feminine colors like purples, yellows, and pinks instead of dark red, beige, and burgundy. Ugh. While these dark colors weren't bad outfits on her, they did make her look wicked. And she also has a different hairstyle in each season, which again, I love. I just love how they did her hair. I really do. Like, she looks so pretty. So pretty. Erica is awesome. To me, Erica is a character of her time. She's nerdy but sassy. She's strong and confident. But more importantly, she's a loving and caring person that is able to shine when she is put into the background. Erica was always going to be a main character. What Erica means to me in Stranger Things. Erica's an outcast of her group. Let me explain. See, Lucas and Erica do follow a similar plotline, but what I love about Erica is that this plotline does not relate to race. See, Erica, when we first saw her, most of the group we tend to see her in is she's like the queen bee of her own group, and no one messes with her. She's surrounded by girls, she's always laughing, she's always at the high point. She's basically the queen bee of her group. But as you can see, her group is against nerdy stuff like electronics, comics, video games, D&D, all that stuff.
Watch it, nerd.
And these are things that she likes. So Erica basically has to hide this version of herself from her friends to be accepted within her group. So when Dustin confronts her on the whole, "You're a nerd!" It shocks her to her core. But to me, this is exactly what she needed to hear. Because after she hears this, after she accepts this, and after she knows that there is a place she can go to be accepted for all of her weirdness, she is giddy and happy. She accepts herself. She is more fun to be around. She's more useful when shit hits the fan. And more importantly, she is a very valuable asset to a lot of their plans. She beat the crap out of that dude when Vecna was coming near the end. She did her epic scene. Eat your damn pie! Erica's arc is the little sister that didn't want to stay a background, but also is finding acceptance. The Duffy brothers saw that Miss Ferguson's acting was eventually going to outshine somebody. Say what you want, but her energy that she gave in those small scenes in the first 2 seasons, it was just colorful insults. Like, that was good acting. She was a one-man comedy show. But under that hate, or rather that just, sass, it was someone who just wanted to be accepted into a group, to feel wanted, to feel needed, but also to be seen on an equal level. Because if you notice, there aren't that many nerdy girls within their town that like to play D&D and such. Well, not that we've seen in the show. Erica is technically, besides probably Max and Eleven, technically one of the few girls that actually find interest within the show of the games and all the nerdy stuff. And I think it's because of that she wanted to be on a deeper connection with Lucas and his friends more, because this was something that she loved to do, but she couldn't find people to do it with. And I believe that is because of this enjoyment of these things that it was one of the reasons why she was able to create a deeper bond with Lucas. And because of this bond that they had built for 4 seasons is why she's so beloved by the fandom. And also, many of us just know the feeling of being invisible by the older sibling and just wanting their attention, their love, and just wanting to be with them. But Erica's story is also about acceptance, something common in Stranger Things. For it to be something so small but something so noticeable is amazing writing to me, because again, she wasn't really that important, like she was just a side character until season 3. But rewatching all the episodes and noticing how she probably longed to be with someone who was like her, who was weird as her, you can see it in young Erica. And I think it's good writing. It's like how Holly was seeing, I need to put a warning down. Mental note, I need to put a warning down. But it's the feeling of allowing yourself to enjoy something without being judged for it. She was always around those types of girls that would find these types of things to be weird. So to find a group where you can be accepted, where you can just be weird, where you can just be you, it is such good writing. And I hope that she makes it. I really do. I hope that she makes it. I hope that she makes it. Well, that's it for me. So remember, folks, drink your water, subscribe, and
To eat your damn pie.